Hello, this is yours truly, Charles Prosper, your consistency success coach. And in this installment, I'm going to give you the secret, the absolute secret to consistency in just one word. And what is that one word? Commitment. If you have true commitment to a particular goal, mission, passion, or purpose, something that makes you wake up in the morning wanting to do more of this, that has you going to bed at night thinking about it and just wanting to wake up the next morning to do more of it, having this type of passion and commitment and purpose is your guarantee to consistency, because commitment equals consistency and consistency equals commitment. They are, as I like to say, the two sides of the same success coin. So, in this installment, you will see how and why having a purpose, a commitment, a passion, a goal that is more important than the inconveniences that come along the way to being consistent. You will find here lies the secret to success. Find your purpose, find your passion, become committed to this, and consistency is yours. So, let's take a look at this installment.
Hello, my friend. Do I have a treat for you with this installment? I can give you the secret of consistency in one word. Yes, you heard right. I can give you the secret of consistency in just one word. And what is that one word? Commitment. Because people who are consistent, truly consistent, are consistent because they are committed. Listen to what I said. They are committed to something greater than the inconveniences that consistency entails. Consistency equals commitment, and commitment equals consistency, as they are the two sides of the success coin. Commitment equals consistency. Unbeknownst to most people, the so-called handicapped usually have an unfair advantage over quote-unquote normal people when it comes to having intense commitment and consistency within themselves. I use the term normal tongue-in-cheek because normalcy cannot be measured by such an artificial criteria as physical disability. Even the term handicapped is a judgment call, for the assumption is made that because of some physical disadvantage, the so-called handicapped individual is unable to do what other so-called normal people can do. I have found in many extraordinary cases that just the opposite of this perception is true. Usually, physically challenged individuals can develop such a strong character and determination that they are able to do things which far surpass those who are born without any physical limitations. This phenomenon can also be seen in the case of the economically disadvantaged, individuals who are born in abject poverty, yet move on to become among the wealthiest of modern society. How is this possible? Why is this? In a word, commitment. The committed individual who is called disadvantaged can become far greater in accomplishments than those of us who take what we have for granted. The greater the commitment, the greater the consistency. people of greater commitment just don't give up. They keep going, and inevitably they succeed when others fail. That is, when others give up, which is the definition of failure. The so-called disadvantaged and handicapped, who go on to do outstanding things that make us look on in awe, can do so because these individuals develop such a strong sense of purpose that keeps them motivated. They become the chosen ones to be an inspiration to others who would believe that there are things that they cannot do. The so-called disadvantaged who go on to achieve great things are inspired by a sense of gratefulness for the chance to show the world the possibilities of human achievement in spite of any perceived disadvantages or disabilities. This motivation and fire to show the world who they have chosen to be is far greater than any of the ordinary challenges and setbacks that most people face and run away from toward fulfilling their goals. Facing and overcoming obstacles is what the disadvantaged do best. It is interesting, just as I was changing the font style for some of the letters of this page, I noticed these choices. Regular font, italic font, bold font, bold italic font. I found it interesting that they didn't choose to call regular font normal font, or was italic font called disadvantaged font. Maybe there is a message here to show us how we might view the differences of each other. Nick Nuvicic. No arms, no legs, no worries. One of the most amazing individuals I have come across is Nick Nuvicic. Nick Nuvicic, born December 4th, 1982, is, at present, a 32-year-old Christian evangelist and motivational speaker who was born with a condition, a rare condition, called tetraamelia. Now let me explain. Tetraamelia is a very rare disease where the individual is born literally without any arms or legs. There are only vestiges of feet which allow the person to walk by moving and wobbling carefully from side to side. What is amazing about this young man is that through his faith in God and his commitment to be a miracle for others, he has achieved and continues to achieve far more than most of us who have all of our limbs. As can be expected, Nick grew up confused and in despair as a child, not understanding how God could impose such an infliction on him. But as Nick shares in his book, Unstoppable, The Incredible Power of Faith in Action, published 2012 by Random House, in the introduction on page 3, he writes, I was wrong on all counts. I was not alone in my suffering. In fact, many people have dealt with challenges that surpass mine. And God not only loves me, and He created me for purposes that I never could have envisioned as a child. He uses me in ways that continue to surprise and amaze me each and every day. Wow. What a statement. Not only did Nick finish college, he has a double bachelor's degree in both accounting and financial planning. At the age of 17, he started his own nonprofit organization, Life Without Limbs. Nick has spoken to crowds of as large as 110,000 people. Nick enjoys skydiving, skateboarding, and yes, even soccer. On the cover of his book Unstoppable, there is a picture of him with his charismatically recognizable smile, surfboarding on waves as they splash at his sides. On February 12, 2012, Nick married a beautiful, drop-dead gorgeous lady by the name of Kane Miyahara, whom he describes in his book as truly the greatest gift he has ever received after his salvation and relationship with Jesus. Nick, a longtime resident of Australia, now lives in Southern California with his wife and their first child. Nick has become one of the most eloquent messengers that faith, a sense of purpose, a commitment to something greater than yourself can make you unstoppable. Oh boy, let me tell you about the most committed bodybuilder I have ever seen. The other morning at the gym, I was doing leg raises on the abdominal board when a tall and nicely built gentleman who looked in his mid to late 30s walked in front of me. He was carefully moving toward the Nautilus fitness machines. He touched the top of one of the machines designed to exercise the shoulders, the arms, and the back. He sat down and vigorously began to work out. When he finished, he reached to the side and grabbed a thin white cane with a red tip that was resting on a pillar near his equipment. When he got up, I realized as he turned to walk to the next machine that he was blind. I watched as he gracefully moved from one piece of equipment to another, exercising his various body parts while intermittently going to the fountain on the far wall for a sip of water. This is commitment with no excuses. And when I'm there at 5:30 a.m., I will see my sightless bodybuilding colleague inspiring me with his consistent taking care of business. Helen Keller. Helen Keller was committed and consistent. One of the most famous and inspirational figures of the 20th century was Helen Keller, born June 27, 1880. At 19 months of age as a baby, Miss Keller contracted an illness that was described by doctors at that time as an acute congestion of the stomach and the brain, which might have been diagnosed as meningitis or scarlet fever today. This illness left her both deaf and blind. Nevertheless, Helen Keller became the first deaf-blind person to earn a Bachelor's of Arts degree and went on to become a world-famous speaker and author who wrote over 12 books advocating for women's rights and people with disabilities. However, much of the accomplishments of Helen Keller may not ever have happened without the commitment and dedication of her teacher, Anne Sullivan, who showed Keller how to transcend her so-called disability and discover talents and abilities that were only waiting to be developed and to blossom forth. Helen Keller was committed and consistent, and Anne Sullivan was the quintessential example of the teacher and accountability partner. So, my friends, there you have it, the secret to consistency. If you find something that you can be committed to, that sets you afire, ablaze, that makes you wake up in the morning thinking about this, that makes you go to bed at night thinking about this just to wake up the next morning to do whatever it is that you are committed to again and again and again. This is the type of commitment that will keep you consistent and will guarantee, did you hear my word? Guarantee that you will be successful. That's the message of today.
Wasn't that awesome? I mean, I enjoyed it. I hope you did too. Now you know that the greater your commitment, the greater the guarantee is of your consistency. If the goal is not important to you, you're not going to want to go through the inconveniences that come along the way and the obstacles that you have to overcome in order to remain consistent. If it's not important to you, you're going to have a time maintaining yourself to be consistent. Okay, I hope you got it. I hope you got it. And before we go, I would like to invite you to my community of consistent-minded people where we help each other as a family to stay consistent on our goals. This is through the Prosper Success Consistency membership site, where you will find consistent-minded individuals where we help each other. Part of the advantages of the membership site is that you will have access to accountability partners who will help you stay on track, as you will have other members for whom you will help stay on track as their accountability partners. Additionally, there will be live coaching calls where you can call in and get answers to whatever problems you may be having in remaining yourself consistent. So I would invite you to go right now to www.consistencysuccesscoach.com, and you will be glad that you did. And before you go, I would like to remind you that I make and put out daily consistent installments on the subject of consistency so that you don't miss any installment. I would invite you to like and subscribe right now so you don't miss out on any of the new videos that come out. So, with that said, as I always like to end my presentations to you, stay consistent and be successful.